So finding a comfortable position. And letting your body be alert and also relaxed. You can begin by letting your mind settle down in the present moment, letting go of thoughts of the past or the future. And making the decision to keep your mind focused on this meditation topic for the duration of the practice. And of course, if at any time you feel overwhelmed or there's any strong emotion, come back to the breath, come back to the body sensations, and just offer kindness and attention and care to those experiences. And you can always stop the meditation if you don't feel it's beneficial for you, if it's somehow bringing up too much difficulty. You can practice walking meditation or moving mindfully or drinking tea. But we'll be here together supporting each other also. So as your mind begins to calm and settle in the present moment, generate a positive motivation for doing this meditation. It could be something like, may this meditation help bring about greater peace and happiness for myself and all beings. Or may this meditation be a support for me on my path of awakening, of understanding my mind, so that I can help all beings become free of suffering. So I'm going to cover the 9 points that I mentioned in this meditation. And as you contemplate them, bring to mind your own ideas and experiences, as well as stories you have heard or read that help you connect with the truth of each contemplation. Try to get a feeling, an embodied sense of each contemplation. If at any time during the meditation you experience a strong intuitive feeling of the point that we're examining, stop thinking and hold the feeling with concentration for as long as you can. When it fades or your mind gets distracted, return to the contemplation. So we begin by reflecting on the inevitability of death. We plan many activities and projects for the coming days, months, and years. Although death is the only event that is certain to occur, we don't usually think about it or plan for it. Even if the thought of death does arise in our mind, we usually push it away quickly. We don't want to think about death. But it's important to think about and be prepared for it. So we'll contemplate these first 3 points together to really open our awareness to accept that death is definitely going to happen to each of us. For the first contemplation, everyone has to die. To generate an experience of death's inevitability, bring to mind people from the past, famous rulers and writers, musicians, philosophers, saints, scientists, criminals, and ordinary people. These people were once alive. They worked, thought, and wrote. They loved and fought. They enjoyed life and suffered. And finally, they died. Can you think of anyone who was born on this earth but who did not die? No matter how wise, wealthy, powerful, or popular a person may be, his or her or their life must come to an end. The same is true for all other living creatures. For all the advances in science and medicine, no one has found a cure for death, and no one will. Now bring to mind people you know who have already died. And think of the people you know who are still alive. Contemplate that each of these people will one day die. And so will you. There are 7 billion plus people on the planet right now. But 100 years from now, all of these people, with the exception of a few who are now very young, will be gone. You yourself will be dead. Try to experience this fact with your entire being. The second contemplation is that your lifespan is decreasing continuously. Time never stands still. It's continuously passing. Seconds become minutes. Minutes become hours. Hours become days. Days become years. And as time passes in this way, you are traveling closer and closer towards death. Imagine an hourglass with the sand running into the bottom. The time you have to live is like these grains of sand, continuously running out. Hold your awareness for a while on the experience of this uninterrupted flow of time, carrying you to the end of your life. As you really get a sense of this, check what thoughts and feelings arise in your mind. The third contemplation is that the amount of time you have for spiritual practice is very small. Since you're getting closer and closer to death all the time, what are you doing to prepare for it? The best way to prepare for death is doing spiritual practice. This is because the only thing that continues after death is the mind. And spiritual practice is the only thing that truly benefits the mind, preparing it for death and the journey after that, into whatever continuation is there. But how much time do you actively devote to spiritual practice? Working on decreasing the negative, unwholesome aspects of the mind, like attachment, jealousy, and developing the wholesome, positive aspects of the mind, such as kindness and wisdom, and behaving in ways that are beneficial to others. Calculate how you spend your time. In an average day, how many hours do you sleep? How many hours do you work? How many hours do you spend preparing food, eating, and socializing? How much time do you spend feeling depressed, frustrated, bored, angry, resentful, jealous, or critical? And how much time do you spend consciously trying to improve your state of mind, or doing beneficial things such as helping others, or spiritual study or meditation? Do these calculations honestly. Assess your life in this practical way to see clearly just how much of your time is spent doing things that truly benefit yourself and others, and that will be helpful for your mind at the time of death and in the next life. By meditating on these first three contemplations, we develop the determination to use our life wisely and mindfully. So we move on today to the contemplation. This next grouping is on the uncertainty of the time of death. So the fourth of the 9 contemplations is that human life expectancy is uncertain. If humans died at a specific age, like 88, we would have plenty of time and space to prepare for death. But there's no such certainty, and death catches most of us by surprise. Life can end at any point, at birth, even before birth, in childhood, in adolescence, at the age of 22 or 35 or 50 or 94. So think of examples of people you know or have heard about who died before they reached the age you are now at. Being young and healthy is no guarantee that a person will live a long time. Children sometimes die before their parents. Healthy people can die before those who are suffering from a terminal illness, such as cancer. We can hope to live until we are 70 or 80, but we can't be certain of doing so. We cannot be certain that we will not die later today. It's very difficult to feel convinced that death could happen at any moment. We tend to feel that since we have survived so far, our continuation is secure. But thousands of people die every day, and few of them expected to. In your meditation now, generate a strong feeling of the complete uncertainty of your own time of death. How there is simply no guarantee that you have long to live. And we come to the 5th contemplation, that there are many causes of death. There are many different ways that death can happen to people. Sometimes death happens due to external causes. These include natural disasters such as earthquakes, floods, volcanic eruptions, or car accidents or plane crashes. People can also be killed by other people, by murderers, by terrorists, or by dangerous animals or poisonous insects. Death can also happen due to internal causes, and there are hundreds of different causes that can rob us of our health and lead to death. There are also cases of people who are not ill, but their bodies simply stop functioning and they suddenly die. Even things which normally support life can become the cause of death. Food, for example, is something we need in order to stay alive, but it can sometimes lead to death, as when people overeat or eat food that is contaminated. Medicine is another thing which normally supports life, but people sometimes die because they took the wrong medicine or the wrong dose. Houses and apartments enable us to live comfortably, but they sometimes catch fire or collapse, killing the people inside. Bring to mind cases of people you know or have heard about who have died, and think of how they died. Think that any of these things could happen to you as well. And now we come to the sixth contemplation, that the human body is very fragile. Our human body is very vulnerable. It can be injured or struck down by illness so easily. Within minutes, it can change from being strong and active to being helplessly weak and full of pain. Right now, you might feel healthy, energetic, and secure, but something as small as a virus or as insignificant as a thorn could become the cause of your death. Think about this. Recall the times you have hurt or injured your body and how easily it could happen again and even cause your death. Your body will not last forever. In the course of your life, you might manage to avoid illness and accidents, but the years will eventually overtake you. Your body will degenerate, lose its beauty and vitality, and finally die. By meditating on these second 3 points, we develop the determination to begin our practice of the spiritual path right now, as the future is so uncertain. So that is the awareness that human life expectancy is uncertain, that there are many causes of death, and that the human body is very fragile. And now we move on to the last set of three that are under the grouping that only spiritual practice can help us at the time of death. No matter how much we have acquired or developed throughout our life in terms of family and friends, wealth, power, travel experiences, and so on, none of it goes with us at death. Only our mind continues, carrying imprints of all that we have thought, felt, said, and done. It is vital that when we die, we will have as many positive imprints, which will bring good experiences, and as few unwholesome imprints, which will bring suffering, on our mind as possible. Also, we should aim to die at peace with ourselves, feeling good about how we lived our life, and not leaving behind any unresolved conflicts with people. The only things that will truly benefit us at the time of death are wholesome states of mind, such as faith, non-attachment, and calm acceptance of the changes that are taking place, loving kindness, compassion, patience, and wisdom. But in order to be able to have such states of mind at the time of death, we need to make ourselves familiar with them during the course of our life. And this is the essence of the Dharma, or spiritual practice. Realizing this will give us the incentive and energy to start practicing Dharma now, and to practice as much as we can while we still have time. You can experience a strong feeling of this reality by imagining yourself at the time of death and contemplating the following 3 points. This is the seventh contemplation. Your loved ones cannot help you. As you lie on your deathbed, or as the plane you're traveling in is about to crash, what kind of thoughts would come into your mind? Our strongest attachments are usually to our family and friends, so you would probably think of them and feel a strong wish to be with them. But even if they were present with you at the time of death, would they be able to help you? Although they love you very much and do not want you to die, they cannot prevent this from happening. In many cases, they may not know what to say or do that will give you peace of mind, and instead their sadness and worry about the coming separation will affect you, stirring up the same emotions in your mind. When we die, we go alone. No one, not even our closest, dearest loved one, can accompany us. And being unable to accept this and let go of our attachment to our loved ones will cause our mind to be in turmoil and make it very difficult to have a peaceful death. Recognize the attachment you have to your family and friends. See if you can realize that having strong attachment to people can be a hindrance to having a peaceful state of mind at the time of death. So it is better to work on decreasing this attachment and learning to let go. And I want to assure you that letting go of attachment does not mean indifference, and it does not mean that we don't love those in our lives. It means that we can allow space for ourselves and for others to be as they are. That there is freedom in our love. That we let go of the idea that we can control others or that we can have influence over whether they are happy or sad. The flow of their life is not up to us. But we can still love them with all of our heart. And the eighth contemplation. Your possessions and enjoyments cannot help. Your mind will probably also think of your possessions and property when you're at the point of death, which may have occupied a great deal of your time during your life and are a source of much pleasure and satisfaction. But can any of these things bring you comfort and peace at the time of death? Your wealth may be able to provide you with a private room in the hospital and the best medical care, but that is all it can do for you. It cannot stop death from happening. And when you die, you cannot take any of it with you, not even 1 cent or 1 article of clothing. Not only will your possessions be unable to help you at the time of death, but your mind may be caught up in worries about them. Who will get what, and whether or not they will take proper care of your things. So that will make it difficult to have a peaceful, detached state of mind as you're dying. Contemplate these points and see if you can understand the importance of learning to be less dependent on and attached to material things. And now we come to the ninth contemplation. Even your own body cannot help you. Your body has been your constant companion since conception. You know it more intimately than anything or anyone else. You have cared for it and protected it, worried about it, kept it comfortable and healthy, fed it and cleaned it, experienced all kind of pleasure and pain with it. It has been your most treasured possession. But now, as you are dying, that means you will be separated from it. It will become weak and eventually quite useless. Your mind will separate from it, and it will be taken to the cemetery or crematorium. What good can it possibly do you now? Contemplate the strong sense of dependence and attachment you have to your own body, and how it cannot benefit you in any way at death. Fear of pain and regret about leaving it will only compound your suffering. By meditating on these final 3 points, that our loved ones can't help us, our possessions can't help us, and our body cannot help us at the time of death, we can come to realize how important it is to work on reducing our attachment to the things of this life, such as family and friends, possessions, and our body. We should also realize how important it is to take care of our mind, as that is the only thing that will continue on after our death. Taking care of the mind means working on decreasing the unwholesome states of mind, such as discrimination, violence, attachment, and cultivating wholesome states of mind such as faith, loving kindness, compassion, patience, and wisdom. Furthermore, as the imprints of our actions in this life will also go with our mind and continue on, and will determine the experiences we will go on to have, it is essential to try our best to refrain from unwholesome actions and create wholesome, positive actions as much as possible during our life. It's possible that we will feel fear or sadness when doing this meditation. In one sense, that's wholesome because it means we've taken the ideas seriously and we've contemplated them deeply. But also, it's important to get in touch with how you feel about death, so that you can work on being prepared for it when it happens. However, the purpose of the meditation is not to make you frightened. Just being afraid of death is not helpful. What is helpful is to not want to die with an unwholesome state of mind and a lot of imprints on your mind from unwholesome actions that you've done in your life. If we get a strong sense for how tragic it would be to die like that, we will be motivated to live our life wisely, doing as many positive, wholesome, beneficial things as possible. Also, fear arises because of clinging to the idea of a permanent self. But there is no such thing. So this is a delusion that just makes us suffer. If we keep death in mind in an easy, open way, this clinging will gradually loosen, allowing us to be mindful and make every action wholesome and beneficial for ourselves and others. Keeping an awareness of death gives us enormous energy to not waste our life, but to live it as effectively as possible. So we'll close this meditation giving rise to the optimistic, beautiful thought that each of us has every possibility to make our life meaningful, beneficial, wholesome. And in this way, we will be able to die with peace of mind. And we dedicate the merit of this meditation for the benefit of all beings.